You're listening to FFOP Radio.
Reach the and welcome to the show. My name is Dave, and this is a Fistful of Podcasts from FFOPradio.com. Back for another great week. Let me introduce you, as usual, to my co-host, for there is only one this episode. We have one Mr. Andrew Bergman, all the way from the Arena Sparks area.
Hey, David, I tried to join a Jamaican band as their triangle player this week, but it didn't work out.
Why is that?
Because there was no ting to it.
Oh. All right, so Andy, no Adams, because he obviously would be chiming in to chastise you at this very moment.
He would. My wife looked at me and shook her head.
Okay, good. I'm glad someone was there to give you negative feedback personally.
No, here in the Reno Sparks area, yesterday there was 4,000 coronavirus tests, and roughly a quarter of those were positive.
Right, yeah. Like, here's the thing. You were telling me off air earlier. What is the number? 184?
186, I believe, but it's getting higher.
Yeah. The doctors I work with, they're like, well, now that spike's over, we can all just rest and relax. And I'm like, are you kidding me? We've got 2 more spikes to look forward to. We've got your Thanksgiving spike, because everyone's going to get around and share germs, and then we won't even have a chance to see that spike go down before we see the spike at Christmas.
Oh, David, here's the thing. Oh, I said the thing. I have been getting I put up my number at a school that I went to, like, hey, if you need a sub, call this douche.
That's a great way to advertise yourself.
Like, a day later, it's like, hey, can you work for me on the 24th? Like, I can definitely do that. I must have gotten 10 other texts like, no, I cannot work for you on the 24th. It's like, but I'm leaving. I'm going across the country for Thanksgiving. Like, you dumb bastards.
Yeah, and it's a little late. Like, as of this recording, God knows when you're hearing this, but as of this recording, we are so close to the end of November, it's ridiculous.
Oh, I'll as long as you text me like 3 days in advance, I'll be like, yeah, I'll substitute for you. I've had people text me like 6 a.m. the day of, like, hey, you want to sub today? Like, no.
Right, but like, I don't understand, like, this is especially a time when everybody's going to take off. And I've worked in office buildings for so long, it is always so bonkers to me that we will get 2 or 3 days away from a major holiday, and people will suddenly remember that they've been hearing Christmas music for the past month and a half. They'll remember they've been talking about the vacation they've been wanting to go on, but they will not request it off until like the day before.
Yeah.
And then they're always pissed at the fact that they can't have it because somebody asked it off in July.
Well, and I always, and they told me to stop doing it at Target. It's like, okay, I know that I'm going away 4 months from now. I will request it off now.
Mm-hmm.
But if I requested it off in advance, it'd get to the point where they're not allowed to schedule me.
Oh.
Because it was approved, and I'll be on the schedule like, hey, hoes, I've got approval here for all my time off. Like, what? How did you, huh?
There's part of that dichotomy is I used to be in that situation. You're in that spot where like they need your time off, and if you're one of the people who think ahead, you get penalized for it. But now I've come full circle. I'm in a job where whether I show up or don't, day in, day out, like if I wanted to like not come in for a couple days, no one would give a shit because I would literally be caught up the next time I show up.
Well, yeah, that's like, I had, and I was bad this week, but I'll usually do most of my homework all in one day during the week, so I can just be like, all right.
Yeah, right.
But in my brain, always in my brain, because all I worked at Target was weekends.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming up to the weekend. I'm like, I'm not going to have any time to do any of that homework. Like, oh, wait, no, you're good.
Yeah. Like, it's when your schedule changes, it always takes at least a week. Like, I don't understand how people can think that they can just step in and out of these positions. Like, over my lifetime, even at a young age, if I went from like a morning shift to a night shift or an afternoon shift to a this or that, like, it is legitimate jet lag.
Yeah.
And I always pity the people who say, oh, I'm switching to this shift. And I'm like, oh, the first week is going to suck. I'm like, prepare because it will. And they go, oh, no.
It's like every fall on this show, because David lives in the only smart state.
In one way only.
We have to do
Maybe
like
two.
4 or 5 texts back and forth. David will be like, hey, you want to do the show at 3? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, wait, you're at 3 or my
time is
3,
it there?
Joker?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. That's the problem. Whatever. It's, and it comes around every year, but everybody always forgets to cope with it.
Yeah.
Like, so what I guess what I'm saying is daylight savings time or changing your schedule. It takes everybody a legitimate week, but they always think, oh, I got this. Admit to yourself,
I got it this
people.
time.
No, just call that week a wash. Don't schedule anything around the week of changing a schedule in your job or shift or whatever, or around daylight savings time. Just don't. It'll always get ruined. I know you always say, no, we've done it so long. We've done it so long, Dave. Why don't you guys don't do daylight savings time? We've been doing it. Ha, ha, ha. I was shaking the head. And then for a solid week, everybody who I know is dealing with daylight savings time is a pain in my ass because I have to remind them.
Yeah. Well, and then, and it always happens both when we jump ahead and fall back, where it's people are like, oh, I'm sorry I'm late. I forgot to set my clock ahead. Like, there's signs all around this fucking building. Like, you walk up to the clock, it's like, don't forget. You walk away from the clock, don't forget. Walk into the break room, don't forget.
Yeah. And not only that, but you have like that hilarious, maybe it's not a mnemonic device, but spring ahead, fall back. So spring ahead, set your clocks ahead an hour.
What a hilarious mnemonic device.
It's like lefty loosey, righty tighty. You've got rhyming and you've got alliteration. If a child, like, here's the thing. I know you feel stupid the first time you hear something when you should have heard it as a child. I was an adult before I heard a small child grappling with a spigot, trying to get some water out. He's like paused and he's like lefty loosey, righty tighty. And then he figured the spout out immediately. I'm like, where did you hear that? He's like, oh, everybody knows it. I was like, what I felt so ripped off.
Wise child, where did you get such sage wisdom?
Yeah. I wanted to shake him and be like, where have you been all my life? And the
Do you have
reality
any more
of it
rhymes?
Was, he wasn't born until like the past 3 years ago.
And the kid follows you around and is like, oh, kings play chess on fine glass stools. That's for like the kingdom, phylum, all that stuff. I don't remember all of it. All I remember is that kings play chess on fine glass stools.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so here's one thing that you would think I would know. The breakdown of the Paleozoic epochs. Like you're beyond your Triassic, Jurassic, Cretaceous. We've got everything from the Devonian to like the Eocene and the Pliocene, yada, yada, yada.
Yada.
There are so many mnemonic devices to help you remember that, and I have remembered none of them, despite the fact I'm constantly, probably more so than most people I know, like the next 10 put together, looking at charts of deep time, trying to remember.
Dave just stares at time charts like, wow, I can't even read them when he sees them.
Maybe it's the way it's set up, because deep time charts are set up very similarly to how Dante's Inferno is portrayed pictorially. So it's like these various layers, and with each layer, you've got a different subset or category. And that's how deep time is. It's these layers of rock. And I'm always like, maybe it's because it's all spread out horizontal. I can't make heads or tails of it. So
if they flipped it vertically, it'd be fine.
Maybe? I don't know. It makes me feel like I'm completely dense because I can't just remember 3 or 4 different things.
Well, but you're also looking at stuff that most people are like. You knowing the 3, the Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous, is more than most people are going to say.
Possibly, but that's not going to...
That's not going to impress the paleontologists.
No, that's the thing. If you want to step out of like a random question asker and show yourself that you're worth this person's time, you got to do a little legwork. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I'm always going down to the video game store and trying to impress those guys. With my hobby, it's like, oh, so this is a joystick, is it?
So how much joy can you get out of one stick, per se?
Any recommendations? I remember working at GameStop, and we'd get the guys that come in, and since it was all like scene girls that worked there,
Yeah.
it's just like, oh look, I've played this one and I beat it 100%. You want to see my platinum trophy?
I'm glad I never latched onto something like that. I constantly longed for it, and I'm going to tell you a short story and loop it back around. So in high school, my thing was music, and so my thing was trying to get into a band. And I could not play the guitar because it had too many strings and my synapses were not quick enough, so I settled on the bass. So in a band, my guitar player always had a pick in his pocket, several picks in his pocket. For some reason, my drummer always had a pair of drumsticks. We could be out eating at a restaurant without the possibility of playing a drum, would have drumsticks. And I played the bass and refused to use a pick because I felt that was
Limiting.
and not necessarily limiting, but I don't like it personally. So I was like, I won't do it.
Oh, David slap at the bass.
I slapped. Yeah, my thing was funk, so I slapped and I plucked.
Yeah, of course.
So I never had that thing.
That famous band that Dave was in, Davy Dave and the Funky Bunch.
Our working name was Hope and the Red Strings, but she always shot it down because she thought that Red Strings was alluding to period.
What?
Yeah, we wanted because our lead singer her name was Hope. And so we were going over band names, and we're like, Hope and the Red Strings, because we shred. Like, we'll be playing so hard that our strings will be bloody with our fingers. She's like, no, Red Strings means period. And we're like, what the? So that was a great idea, gone to the dogs.
Well, yeah, and then your band ended up being named Aunt Flo.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, we were just called the Flow and the Periods. She changed her name. No, so moral of the story is, I'm sad sometimes that I did not have something to latch onto that I could whip out and quote unquote impress people with. But I'm also glad I didn't do that because I would not want to be this dude in your story to whip out like a thing to be like, my nerdy, like no one gives a fuck.
But David, here's the thing is that, yeah, there are people that bring their, this is my expertise and I brought it with me. 99% of those people it's just an affectation.
Yeah.
Like, this makes me interesting. But you find the 1% and you see the guy and he's like, oh yeah, I've got like a deck of cards here, and all of a sudden he's doing all sorts of fucking card tricks, and he's like, and you're like,
yeah.
what the fuck?
Those people are such interesting specimens of humanity to me. And we all have run across them. You run across someone you've known for years, and they just suddenly let you know that they're incredibly talented at something.
And they've never been the type to be like, oh, hey, check out my parrot.
Yeah. Or whatever. Like, so here's an old and a new one. So the new one is related to this show, Nick Cavallo. I sent a thing on the Facebook and I was like, hey, who does something that's related to creativity? Drop it in the comments and I'll check it out. Nick has like 6 or 7 albums on Bandcamp.
Oh.
Maybe I'll link that I definitely will link that in the show notes. I've been listening to it. And if you like, there's a band I bring up all the time, 16 Horsepower. If you like 16 Horsepower, you will like his band, which is called Dried Owls.
Okay.
So whatever, plug for Nick. But that's the thing. Those people who keep something they're insanely good at quiet, I can't help but think their shyness must be so monumental, because if I had any talent, I'm loud as shit and I have zero talent.
Oh, that's not true.
If I had, look, put me in front of a piano, like, there's nothing, if you put me in a room with people, there's nothing I can do that will surprise them. They'll be like, oh, he's loud and he talks a lot. Yay. That's fine.
Yeah.
No one will be surprised.
Thank you for bringing him.
Where are the people out? There are people out there who will just like, and they'll go to a party and they'll see the piano. They'll know they've got that talent, or they'll look at a thing like they know they can juggle and they just happen to see a bunch of balls, and they'll go years. And it's so that's a new one. That was Nick. The old one is you, because when I found out you could write and that you were dragging your ass, when I read, what was it? The Itching? Please refresh my memory. Was it The Itching?
I think it was.
Okay. If you haven't gotten to it or know of it, there's a book out there that we all wrote. And when I read that story, I was so incredibly impressed and angry at you.
Angry?
Yes, because I was like, this is the caliber that you write at, and you're just like, oh, here you go. I finally got 5 minutes to toss it off.
I do that with essays too. I hate writing essays, and when I'm done, I was like, well, this is a nice piece of shit.
Yeah.
And then I send it off, comes back 100, and they're like, "Can I use it to show the class what's good?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, you can. Show them what's
Yeah.
good."
So maybe you're that hidden pocket of society who has something that they don't even realize they have.
But David, we're talking about hidden knowledge bases and hidden talents. I've met people that have those, but you don't go, "Wow, that's impressive." You go, "Oh my God, I need to get away from this person."
Like talent wise?
Well, talent knowledge wise, where I knew a dude that I think I worked with him at a movie theater, and suddenly one day he just brought up his knowledge of the legal age to have sex with women in every state.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And I'm like,
so
okay, we need to scooch on past you.
it's a knife that cuts both ways, Andy, because you can get really good at literally anything, and that thing could be memorizing where you can and cannot be legally a creep. So,
I'm on that legal creep.
yeah. So I would rather know than not.
Yeah.
Even if you don't want to trumpet it, like if you've got a talent and you know me after a while, please fill me in, because I would rather know, like, let's say,
So we can take advantage of you.
yeah, either number one, take advantage of you and I'll take the credit if you want and you don't have to. Or if it's on the flip side of that coin and it's a completely batshit insane thing, then I'll know to avoid certain subjects that'll trigger your batshit theories.
Look, if you have like, "Hey Nick, do you need a band manager?" I will grow out one side of my hair and slick it over so I can be a sleazy band manager.
Well, I'm not saying that you could probably do this with anybody, but maybe just me. Maybe not on a first time meeting someone if you were like, "Hey, I believe in ghosts." If you find someone who is not also a believer or a believer of Bigfoot or whatever touchstone example I could pull from,
Yeah.
you could turn someone off immediately. I'm saying I'm willing not to turn you off because one of the best dudes I ever met, again, to tie it together to one of your stories earlier, at a movie theater, he ran the IMAX and I ran the 35 millimeter. And we would shoot the shit all day and night because all you'd have to do is just set them and forget them most of the time unless you ran back in a panic.
Well, yeah, because you automatically know when something's wrong.
Yeah, you do. So, moral of the story is this dude, I was like, this dude is grounded. He is legit. He's got a technical knowledge because he had to go get certified through a number of places like IMAX and Bose and this film company to handle all this heavy machinery and stuff. So I was like, this guy I can respect. And then one goddamn day, he told me that essentially his belief system is that everyone alive on Earth today is the descendant of an alien, a la some sort of Babylon 5 style storyline.
Nice. Yes. Good. Keep going.
And that we simply do not know or remember where the spaceship crashed, so he can't prove it.
Well, but David, people with wacky belief systems, and I don't know if he still believes this. I knew a guy that one day we're talking about. I was like, "Yeah, I'm not religious at all." He's like, "Oh, I'm a druid."
Oh.
And I said, "Okay, what does a druid do?"
That's an affectation. Please.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly what it ended up being. That's an affectation.
But here's the thing that went beyond with this guy, Paulie. I love this guy. If I knew where he was, I would love to hang out with him to this day. But he just disappeared, man, because he was a weirdo.
Just disappeared one day. You didn't check any of the any place for bodies.
No, what happened was he had been slowly gathering a head of steam about something, because after he dropped the whole Babylon 5-esque why do tomatoes taste good because aliens made them bullshit, he says, "Well, my sweetheart is in the Philippines and I'm trying to get her over here." And he would constantly talk to me and recite conversations he is having with her where he's like, "Honey, don't worry, I'm doing this, that." Because he was kind of like this fussy, he was a Jewish guy, so I don't want to be like, "Oh, he was a Jewish guy," but he was like that sort of, that East Coast
like
sort
an
of
Eddie
Jewish.
Deason.
Yes, like a New Yorker sort of attitude. "Honey, my Filipino wife," he would say. And he just, whatever reason, was building up a head of steam. So one day he came in. He was a guy who had a bald head, cul-de-sac ponytail with a goatee.
Oh, no.
Yes.
No.
But whatever. He was a nice guy. I didn't have to live with him, so I let him have it. One day he comes in. Goatee is gone. Head completely shaved. He comes in, gets all of his shit out of the high-tech IMAX area, leaves, and I never saw him again.
Is there any chance he was being gaslit?
Oh shit, it's possible.
Like he
might have
moved to the
joined a
Philippines and
cult.
all that was there was a bunch of drug runners. It was like, you're ours now.
Oh no, yeah, because they probably made him shave his face and hair.
Yep.
So oh no.
So the police can't find him. Now he's a drug mule. And you could have saved him. You could have been like, can I see a picture of this Philippines wife?
Oh my God, Paulie. No, if you're dead in the Philippines, Paulie, I am sorry.
He's not dead. He's got a keister full of coke. And it's really hard. David, it's hard to be a drug mule right now because you can't fly internationally. So he keistered that and he's just had to hold it.
No, listen, he's already dead. I worked at a movie theater over 10 years ago. This happened over a decade ago, probably 15 years ago. Like, he started out as a mule, but he would have, no, he's dead. He's dead.
He's dead. Sorry, Paulie.
God damn it. Sorry, Paulie. I hope that in your dying moments, your brain told you that you found the spaceship that you thought was here.
Oh, maybe.
Anyway.
David, he came in. I'm surprised he didn't be like, I found him. I found the remains of the one that made us all.
I never got any, like, because I was like, Paulie, what's up? And he's just like, boom, right past me. Like, he was dead not set on what he was doing.
That's another thing. David, maybe he shaved his ponytail and goatee because he was starting a cult.
I don't think he was starting it. He probably he wasn't a leader, man. He was a follower. This guy he looked to me for advice at times. Like, this guy was not going to start anything.
Well, aren't we all just looking for a cult to follow?
I think he joined a Filipino cult, and I'm sad.
Yep.
Paulie, if you're out there, please.
Call into the show.
Call in. I don't even know why we started talking about this.
Can't remember.
Because something you believe or some. Oh yeah. Okay. Being upfront. I would rather have you be upfront. More. Yeah. No. Okay. Yeah. I get it now. I would rather you be batshit insane and upfront so I can just accept it and move on than have it be dropped on me a year, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years into a relationship. And I, number one, feel ripped off because I could have exploited this in you. And number two, when I try to laugh it off, then you get mad at me because you've been keeping it a secret for so long.
Hey, yeah.
And I can't, but that's the thing. I can't help it. If you were upfront about something you are crazy about, it's so much better. Every time I meet someone, if I know I'm going to be associated with them for a while, like when I get a new boss and I feel like they're not going to get fired or quit or suck, I immediately tell them all the things that make me insane and why I am mentally ill so that when they happen, we're all on the same playing field. And I'm like, okay, heads up, here's what's happening. So if I had a likewise situation with a friend and I believed in ghosts or goblins or crystal healing or sun gazing or whatever your zany thing may be. Yeah, where you feed your, like, essentially photosynthetically deriving nutrition from the sun.
Oh, is that the one where you're supposed to get it on your chode?
No, it's the one where you're supposed to look into it.
But okay, yeah. I could see how that would last all of 2 minutes before you were like, oh, this is just bad.
If you can believe this, many of its adherents are not adherents for very long, and not by choice.
Yeah, no. Now they're part of the blind community.
Yes. So, whatever. But that's the thing. If you want to split humanity into categories, it'll be basically one category per person.
Okay.
So, that's what maybe now, here's the thing. I'm transitioning into this. Labels. I think we're over labeling everything too.
Probably, but at the same time, we've been trying to force people to be homogenous for so long that now that we've given them freedom,
I think we're swinging.
They're throwing all the spice on the chicken.
Yeah. We're swinging too hard the other way. We as a species, we need to go somewhere between, like, we're all the same, so let's just accept a non-fact that we're all going to be born the same, or that we're all going to be insanely, like, we're all our own little Kanye West and everyone should give a fuck about who we are. Like, somewhere in there, like, let's be realistic. Like, especially with, let's just say we're all people. How about that? If you meet someone and they say, hey, I prefer to be called this, and there are going to be two impasse points here. If you meet someone and they say, hey, I like that dude right there, and you throw up a hand, you say, I'm not a dude, I'm a chick, and they say, I refuse to call you that. Then the relationship is over, correct?
Yes. And the person who says I refuse is a douche.
Yeah, you're not going to win that argument, so they get to be a douche, and you get to trim the fat of your relationships. So, like, I just feel like all the PSAs of, like, just accept all of these specific terms, and if we come up with more, how about we just say accept everybody? Like,
but
instead of having... my last diatribe will be this, because when it was, when I was young, it was LBG community. Then it was LBGT, LBGTQ, LBG. Like, after a while, when we have the whole alphabet and we're literally encompassing everyone, can we just start referring to everybody as humans again, for fuck's sake? Because I'll go through the whole alphabet if you want. I'll be LBGTQAXMY, and I'll throw some numbers in there if you want, if we could all just get along.
Yes. I would like that as well. But I will tell you, David, when people label themselves, sometimes it's easier for me to block them on Twitter.
That's true.
I have a Twitter block list of thousands of people because I will see somebody respond to something and be like, well, let's see how batshit insane they are, and click on their profile. If your profile says gamer, blocked.
Yeah.
You're always a fucking child diddling weirdo.
So interesting theory. But you bring up a good point, because my nomenclature has only ever had that touchstone of the various genders and orientations. But yeah, gamer too. If you identify as literally anything, people who say, well, first and foremost, I'm an American, that means you're a douche. First and foremost,
I'm a patriot.
Yeah,
that's another thing. If I see Christian in your Twitter bio, blocked. Child diddling weirdo.
If first and foremost you're anything above human, you're a dick. It's weird. Why? I would never call myself, like, you're never going to log into anything on my Twitter, on this show's Instagram or whatever, and it's like, I'm a blank. Like, I'm nothing. Somebody accused me of being a journalist, and it was someone telling me.
Accused you of being a journalist?
Yeah,
No, you're like a photojournalist.
No, not even a photojournalist. I was talking to one of the bigwigs over at the Arizona Museum of Natural History, and I was talking about, doing more projects over there with multimedia and stuff. And I was talking about, we got to ask questions more and more. And she's like, yeah, well, that's why you're a journalist. And I'm like, what? She goes, yeah, you ask questions, you get to the bottom of things. I'm like, that's all you need to be a journalist? I'm like, your standards.
And a degree. You need a degree that says I can write newspaper columns. What do journalists write these days?
Blogs.
Oh, good. Fun blog.
Online. I'm sure they're out there doing something, because I'm always reading articles, and they must have come from newspaper people.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the day.
I see newspapers sometimes, but I've never seen anybody purchase one.
No, I think what's nuts to me is, like, when newspapers went online, they tried to charge you for the digital versions of the papers and still also have advertising. Like, that worked with paper fine, because you had to buy, cut, strip, print, send, deliver the paper. But now it's a dude on a computer, and it takes much, like, where it took a factory and a bunch of trucks, now takes like a small room of IT guys. Maybe just stick with the ads so that you don't make yourself a dinosaur that much faster.
Well, and here's the thing is, if I try to log on, like, oh, this is an article about, recently it's just been Trump losing lawsuits.
Right. Sad.
And I'm like,
sad.
oh, I will read about this. And I click on it. It's like, it looks like you got your ad blocker on. You can't read anything until you disable that. I'll be like, I didn't need to read that anyway.
But yeah, that's the thing, which is fine, because if the New York Times wants to go like, hey, all of our shit's free, however, there will be ad walls unless you want to buy, fine. That's awesome. I get that. That's the app method, and it fucking works, because guess what? If the Apple and Android, stores were assholes, they would just be geysers of diarrhea for how much material is getting sluiced through there.
I mean, the Android store is kind of a geyser of diarrhea, because they don't monitor a lot of that.
That's the thing. When you make things open source, you get that independent spirit, but you also get dicks who exploit the system, and lazy people and trolls.
Yeah. Where it's like, oh, look, it's Pocket Man.
Yeah.
For your Android phone, would you like to get a Pocket Man?
So, but that's the thing. If you're upset with that model, then you also have to be upset with, like, Steam and basically any streaming service.
See, Hulu. Actually, I don't see a lot of advertisements when I watch stuff on Hulu, but I am kind of upset that I'm paying, $8 a month, and they're allowed to put advertisements in there?
Yeah, I think we're paying for the $13 one, and they don't play literally anything except for the shows, and it's probably outside of YouTube, which I watch for like instructional videos. Like Hulu is where I go to because I know I'm not going to get hassled.
You can't watch YouTube for instructional videos, David. I did that.
Why not?
So David got me into RetroPie stuff. It's been my
I got a story about RetroPie.
My quarantine project.
Yeah.
Upgrade to the 4, and I was like, okay, I want to overclock this beast. I want to do this. You try to find any tutorials for RetroPie stuff, it's either a fat old man who knows what he's doing but likes to, will go off on weird tangents.
Yeah.
Or, like I've always said, a young British child.
Yeah, what
who
is
goes,
up
calm
with
down,
that?
Calm down, son. Calm down. I'll show you how to do it. And he just it's like, here's how you fixed it. And he'll plug it in and be like, fixed already. Goodbye.
Yeah.
And it's like a 3-minute video with 1 million views, and people are like, thanks, that really worked for me.
The Raspberry Pi community is a very frustrating community because since they are very DIY, obviously, and very into like the coding side of things. Very few of them make it to other forms of media like YouTube. So you either have to read 900 pages of a forum post about the one thing you're trying to figure out, or you have either the grandpa or the Sprat.
Well, and you read the forum posts, and for me I was trying to get CDI to work, and it's hard to get CDI to work. But you wouldn't know that having looked at the forum posts where it's some guy going, CDI will never work. Another guy goes, hey, fuck you, buddy. I've got the old Zelda games running on my thing right now. Like, how did you do it? Like, I'm not going to tell.
Yeah, that's the beauty of forums too. Is every fucking time I use them, here's what I get. Specific problem, enter into Google. Oh, here's a forum expressly named after that. The first post. Hey, my name or whatever, I have this problem, blah, blah, blah. It's exactly what I'm looking for. I scroll down and I see the very next post. Figured it out, thanks.
Yep, and they don't have the instructions.
And not only do they not post the instructions, but no one who came before me even thought to ask. Like, I'm the only, so I'm number 2 human on the planet who also happened to stumble upon this specific. Are you what? Wait, like it's a community, right? You join this because we all work together because it's a fucking thing, right? The Raspberry Pi community, not hey, I have a problem, fixed it, fuck you, delete my account.
I'm telling you though, for $100 and the hours you put into it, like I had to put in a few hours to get this thing where I want it, and it still doesn't have everything I want.
Yeah,
but man, I got a lot of shit on there.
That's so your Raspberry Pi is my 3D printing, but I am doing like very low impact Raspberry Pi projects. So the thing I just did was I turned my 3A plus or 3B plus out in the living room. I turned that into a Steam Link.
Does it work good?
It's so I thought I was having some trouble because it was laggy as hell, but I unplugged the Xbox 360 controller and plugged the Duke into it, and now it's fast and it's perfect. However, controller being a non-issue now, I got zero sound coming through this bastard, and I have no idea why.
See, I have an official Steam Link if you want it, because I've got my computer is literally 20 feet away, but on Wi-Fi, nah.
Well, yeah, that's my problem because the computer I am recording this awesome episode you're listening to now on is my gaming computer because it is the best thing for the job. Plus, it does all my photo editing.
Okay, so David's excited to reboot the show. We all sit down. It's time to go. He says, "I've tested everything." And we cannot hear him, or he cannot hear us. It was one or the other with that other computer.
Yeah.
And David, I just don't know, guys. They're like, oh, this is a successful reboot. Next week, same thing. David just fucking goes, fine, I'll be right back.
Yeah, I had to because it was, and literally that tower sits mere feet from me. The one you are mentioning, I do not want to give up on it because it literally carried the show for like 5 years. So I don't know if there's just an update, but I refuse to give up. However, moral of the story is my gaming PC that was out by my giant TV is now in here working as this.
Speaking of gaming, I saw a Twitter thing the other day where a lady goes, I hope all you adults who bought PlayStation 5s are proud of yourselves. Because now you've basically snatched the PlayStation 5s out of Santa's sack. Like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm proud of that.
Who cares? Like, why is it that you think just because it will be given under the guise of Santa that it's going to go to someone of higher moral fortitude than yourself?
Oh, but my kid
bitch.
wanted one. David, my kid wanted that,
what
and
the
you
shit?
bought it.
What if your kid's an asshole? I'm not rolling the dice and denying myself a pleasure because a child who may or may not be worthy of it should be getting it. No. Negative.
I do like...
Listen.
See, my thing is just like, bitch, you should have been on top of it. David's is your kid's probably an asshole anyway.
Yeah, roll the dice and tell me your kid is better. Produce the child, then we can talk.
Show me the baby.
Yeah, like if you bring me a like obnoxious, sullen 14-year-old, I'm gonna flip you the double bird, and not only am I gonna buy it in front of you, but I'm gonna destroy it in front of you too, because I don't even want it.
That kid's not gonna appreciate these pixels.
Yeah. Megapixel this, and I said, ugh, and I break him and I pour all the pixels on his feet.
I'm mega flop my dick out.
Okay, but now that we're talking about consoles, I need an opinion, Andy, because I think my rule has need of being broken. So I said after the console that I own now, the Xbox One, I said no more consoles. It's a fool's errand. It's for idiots. I'm done with artificial exclusivity, all that bullshit. And now Xbox says, oh, the X1, XXS, yeah, XXS will also go to your Xbox, Microsoft X, Windows XX, Computer X, Access Link X. So there's no reason to buy our console. Good news, you can buy it on your computer. Great. So you're selling us the thing we don't need. Thank you, Xbox. Nintendo, I'll never buy again because there's no reason. And so now Sony has some things I want, like
Yes.
Spider-Man.
The Spider-Man.
And since they are assholes and I will never be able to, maybe I'll go and lag a console behind them. So when the 5, is released and everybody has...
It is released.
I mean... And also, everyone has uncorked their ass because, they're holding it in because they got to get to the Best Buy to get theirs. I'm saying once everybody has theirs and the scarcity is gone, and like maybe
Yes.
the price of the 4 will plummet, and old Dave here can swoop in and get himself a nice Spider-Man setup.
Spider-Man was very good.
That's what I keep hearing. But
I tell you, you get a PlayStation 4. Prepare for your house to sound like a fucking airport.
Well, they never fixed it or what?
No, the PlayStation 4, and I had a Pro. When I was playing Last of Us 2, I had to have that thing cranked because it is... Oh, what a beautiful game that is apparently destroying my PlayStation.
I don't that's another thing, like, that consoles are so stupid for. Like, if I wanted to, I could build a rig and then just swap parts out of it. With a console, you're basically at a ceiling set by whatever thing is hardwired in there. That's it. If something changes in a year, you're fucked. So that's what I'm saying. I'll get myself a 4. Everything for that is already dead. The potential has been completely exhausted. And then I can get everything used.
I came across my PlayStation 5 the exact same way I came across my PlayStation 4.
By a leprechaun?
Yes, I took out my leprechaun. I keep him in a little jar.
I knew it.
And he said, "Har, let me out of the jar." And I said, "I'll let you out of the jar if you grant me another wish." I did not honor my side of the bargain, so I do have Warwick Davis locked in my closet in a big jar.
Obviously, yeah. I can't believe he keeps falling for it.
Like, release day came, or the pre-order date, and I was like, I'll see if I'm able to pre-order it. Probably won't be able to. And it just went through. I was like, oh. Okay,
so
then.
you were just one of the lucky ones. Like, you obviously didn't get there super early, right? You didn't at the stroke of midnight be like, I'll give it a shot.
Nope. I saw that pre-orders were live on Twitter, and everybody was like, "You definitely can't get one of these." I went on GameStop.com, said PlayStation, please, and I said, "Here you go."
So it was just hype, like.
No, you still can't get these motherfuckers.
Well, I'm sure, like. Maybe the people around you were slow. Like, maybe just people in Reno didn't blow through Reno's supply, so that's why. But maybe in bigger cities it would have been different. I don't know. Video games are all like a different
Sony's not
language.
allowing them to be sold in store till 2021.
Why?
Because
probably. Okay, yeah, I get you. Because you don't want people running in and getting long lines, getting nut to gut, and fucking infecting people by licking the back of their heads. Yeah,
we're already we're all doing that here, David. I've gone completely because now I saw the odds. If in Reno, if you're in a room with 10 or more people and 3 of them aren't wearing a mask, the odds of you getting the virus is 33%.
You know what? So I work in a medical setting, and typically I work in a back office, far away from the screaming of children and the infectious diseases they are spewing. However, the last 2 days, I've had to work front office because one of the girls quit. And so here's what I was expecting. I was expecting it because I literally hear it all the time, because every day there's 10, 12 hillbillies who come in and they're like, there's no law that says my kid or I have got to wear a mask. And so my manager has to come out and be like, here, like, because why are they always asking for proof? Why does everybody need to be shown something on a tablet or a screen? They just can't, like, take it as given, because we've all heard it, and it's been on the TV and it's been on the radio, and you've obviously heard it.
Well, David, and people, like, I will see, and I don't have to do this now that I'm a substitute teacher. If somebody questions me, I can just say, go to the office.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'd be like, okay, our policy on coupons is you can only use 12. Show me your policy. Like, no, I'm telling it to you.
Not gonna happen. Anyway, moral of the story is, I expected, nay, hoped for someone to come in and throw some difficulty my way.
Did you get it?
And not a single. I don't know. So maybe it's this. Maybe if you're, let's say, a supporter of a certain political party right now, maybe you could be considered a, I don't know, coward. And so if you come in and you see a small Mexican woman or Hispanic woman, you don't know her race, Hispanic woman sitting behind a desk, you think as a big man and or an entitled white bitch that you can give them what for. And that you know the laws and they should go back to burrito world or wherever they're going to drop. Like, I can't tell you. I'm surprised. Whatever, these people.
Oh, David, I'm so glad I am out of retail because I had to deal with them.
Hold on, so the button on the story is I never fucking got it. They took one look at me, they turned around, and they got their mask out of their car. And my question is, I, at a 6 foot tall, 130 pound man, am I that imposing? Like, am I enough to keep?
You do have a disapproving look.
But half of my face was covered. All you can see is my eyes.
Yeah, so, and the eyes are the window to the disapproving soul.
Maybe that's it. I was just hoping. I wanted somebody to get in my face. Not a single person. Not a single person faltered.
Well, yeah, David.
Which made me feel good because Arizona sucks.
Yeah, but are you one in, like, I went into a room with 10 people, I have a 1 in 3 chance of dying now.
At this point, probably. Like, on the weekends we go out for rides, taking Elliot, out of the house because I don't want him growing up being a weirdo, not seeing any other human. So, I mean, through a car window is at least better than nothing.
Hey, look at all the people.
Yeah.
Can we talk to them, Daddy? No.
Don't look at them. Don't talk. 6 feet or more. So anyway, we're going places and driving like downtowns and stuff, and just people at restaurants enjoying the shit out of themselves, just walking around willy-nilly, like it. And every time somebody has the nerve to like, and the signs are everywhere. It's like, wear your mask. We don't want to die. It's just like, well, yeah, it's just like a wink, wink, nod, nod sort of. We don't give a fuck sort of situation here, and that's why everybody's dying. And we've got snowbirds. So we've got the elderly.
Well, it's like you said, David. They had to go wait in line to vote so they could try to die there.
Yes. So we have this highly communicable thing and a very vulnerable, let's say, subsect of the populace. So I can't even imagine, let's say, this is a theory. I'm not going to say it's an idea, but it's a theory. I'm going to say that by next year, I'm going to check, and you have to remind me, I'm going to check the used car ads. Maybe I'll do it in 3 months.
A lot of estate sales.
Yeah, I'm going to see how many cars with out-of-state plates are for sale here because their relative died here and they got to sell it and they don't want to drive it back home to Montana or Wisconsin or whatever. We'll see what happens. I might be able to pick myself up a Buick real cheap.
When we can get Adam over here again, I should have him tell you his story of buying his car currently.
What is he driving
Where
now? Another jalopy?
It's kind of a jalopy, but like he got the title for it, but they hadn't signed it over. And
What?
this and that, so he couldn't register it. And the guy that needed to sign it over lived in like Texas or something.
I don't understand him and cars. I feel like every time I see him, there is a 50-50 chance he will be in like a Beverly Hillbillies style jalopy or like a speed buggy style, like, whatever. Like every time I see him, he's got no dashboard. It's all just a bunch of like blinking lights and whirring gears and motors.
Adam's famous car that poisoned me.
Yeah, his poisoning car that, they've all just been like mechanical monsters.
And his answer to that is like, oh, my car is vaporizing antifreeze and putting it out through the heater, so just don't breathe.
Yeah,
Open the windows.
Watch out for the aerosolized chemical. If it gets in your brain, it'll crystallize. So watch out for that. Yeah, I don't know. He's him, and that's a thing that you wouldn't know unless you knew Adam. So we're kind of like going into it here. It's for everybody involved. Adam has had a string of cars that I think every time he just goes into a junkyard and starts turning keys. That is almost 100% realistic as far as his track record is concerned.
His car sitch.
Yeah, every time. Maybe that's how he joined the Navy. Like he just found a submarine and turned the key, and they're like, "You're hired." We'll have to ask
Ensign.
him.
I don't know the ranks in the Navy. Admiral.
Water baby Adam.
Yeah, water babies. It's the lowest rank.
Yeah, that's the first one, and then you're like a water private. We should have asked Adam, but he's not here.
Ask Adam.
Maybe that when Adam's not here, we'll do a segment, text Adam, and we'll
text Adam.
Yeah, we'll text him at the beginning of the show, and if he gets back to us by the end, the whole show will be that segment. Apparently.
Oh no, David, I messaged that entire household earlier on in the day, and because they don't like, let me see, my message was sent at 8:12 last night, and got a response today at noon.
These are the type of I don't get it. I don't get it, Andy. I just don't get it. Does time mean nothing to people like this?
On the weekends, it doesn't, apparently.
Even during the week. Like, I know people who their job depends on it, is the only reason they make it to where they work on time. Like, I know people who cannot go anywhere without being an hour
David,
late.
I've gotten it at every school I've been to where I will show up a half hour early. Like, oh, you're here early. Like, yeah, I kind of need to read all this stuff.
Yeah, I want to be prepared, right? Like, you want to not just fly blind.
Like, I showed up extra early on Thursday because I was special ed resources, so I needed to read a lot of stuff.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And it's just bonkers to me. So there are certain people in my life who I say, okay, I want to do this activity at this time. I want to do it with this person, so I'll tell them it is literally an hour beforehand so that I know they'll show up at the time I actually want them.
Did you want to try that next time?
Yeah, I'm telling you, that strategy works. If you've got someone who's late and they're consistently late, like let's say half an hour to an hour, just toss whatever you're doing an hour ahead. That gives them time to be completely incapable of managing their own time. And when they have that extra hour, I'm not angry at them because I secretly know that they're sloths.
See, they figure it out, though, David. They figure it out. We used to do this with one of my sisters.
Here's the thing. I don't think you could ever figure it out because I would obviously have to keep up the ruse of like, oh my God, you're so late. Oh my Jesus, which is an easy charade. And
not if you say it like that. Not if you say it like Grandpappy from the Beverly Hillbillies.
Oh my Jesus, I'm taking after Adam's car.
Yeah, strapping Granny to the top of it.
Yeah, that's how
every one of Adam's cars has come with a grandma.
Yeah. Sometimes she gets repoed though, and we're like, "Bye, Granny."
Yeah, sorry,
but
Grandma.
I'm telling you, don't change the way you react to them, but simply move the time so they arrive at the appropriate time, and still give them shit when they get there. Because when they start showing up and realize they're now not the center of attention and getting hassled for the thing that they obviously knew that they agreed to show up in time for and didn't, and so obviously this must be a cry for attention.
It could be.
Then just do it.
Just to be like Nike.
Yeah, just do it. I have family members. I say, I'm going to be hungry at 6 o'clock. So I say, be here at 5 sharp. And when we're eating at 6:15, I think, yeah, perfect plan, Dave. And then I high five myself in my head.
Do you think Nike would be mad if we did also be like Nike with their little swoosh and everything? Be like Popeye and be like Nike?
Oh, no, probably not. I mean, if we did be like Nike, the hashtag would probably be okay because we have plausible deniability because we can say it's Nike and it has nothing to do.
Yeah.
But if we steal their swoosh...
It's a goddess. Was Nike a goddess or a god? Nike was the goddess of victory.
Okay, so we'll call it that. But does it need like a tilde or an accent over the E?
No.
All right. But we definitely
It's
can't
Greek.
use... We can't use their swoosh, though. We definitely can't use that.
We could use something like the check mark.
What if we just took their swoosh, copied it, reversed it, and then just had them like swooshing against each other?
Yeah. Like maybe their little wings on the back of our goddess.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. So, like, you know how Roxy and Quicksilver are the same logo, except one is just one thing twice and it looks like a heart?
I didn't know that Quicksilver was still making clothes. I figured they'd gone the way of No Fear.
No Fear is still around, I thought. Or is it Massimo?
Is No Fear still around?
I know Massimo is.
No, Massimo was a brand that was only at Target and they got rid of it.
Oh, yeah. So maybe it is No Fear that's left.
Because that guy's he had to go to jail.
Why do people who create such comfortable clothing have to be such monsters?
No Fear is a thing in the UK.
Okay, so we don't have that here anymore.
I mean, we could probably get it. There's airplanes.
I don't. The shipping alone from a UK purchase? Are you kidding? No. What about Stussy? Stussy is my always Massimo is top tier. Stussy is like still like a B.
Like a B?
Yeah,
Sure.
You know, the Stussy S we still got. That will never be forgotten.
David, I have somewhat of a Craigslist for you.
Oh, do you?
It's a Yahoo answer.
Oh, okay. Okay, I like these. I was just telling my boss this the other day. I said, I wish every venue that offers a review or a critique should have a rebuttal section. You should be able to comment on people's comments.
Like Yelp?
Yes, because people get brave on Amazon and they'll swing their balls about knowing they can take their name off and knowing that no one can come at them and say it's an obvious lie.
Yeah.
I think a comment section keeps everybody, I'll say this, a moderated comment section keeps everybody honest.
He's right. I remember it might have been back when I was in high school when the Congress was trying to make a bill where if you were going to be commenting on things online, you had to use your real name.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
it's like, oh, yeah, that'll be great.
Don't get me wrong. If we all had to wear our face online, it would not be a nightmare, but there's no way you can ever do that.
No. So it's a very short one.
Uh-huh.
It says, where can I buy a frog? Not for sexual reasons.
But then, so that makes me think this guy has never heard of a pet store, but now definitely is wanting it for sexual reasons.
Yeah, it makes me think that, like, he saw that video of that monkey fucking the frog.
There's a video of a monkey fucking a frog?
You've never seen... Like, yeah, it's horrifying.
No, I've never...
Like, this chimpanzee basically turns it... It's like, hey, frog, and just jams the frog's mouth down on his dick and just starts going with it.
What? Oh, my God. No, I've never seen that, nor do I want to. I'm sorry that I know it exists now.
I am in the market for a frog, but don't know what kind of frog I want to get a frog from.
Don't know what kind of frog.
I don't know what kind of frog I want to get a frog from.
Even before the internet, we had Yellow Pages. You could search there, but now you have the internet and are using it to ask other people on the internet.
Yeah. I would like the frog, not for sexual reasons, to be blue.
Oh, God. I don't understand people like this. Are they trolls? Or are they legitimately so ignorant of society, the internet, or like human interaction in general that they take to Yahoo questions for this type of stuff?
I've listened to a lot of My Brother and Me, and there are questions on there that you can go, okay, well, just shut the whole thing down. Noah, get the boat.
I'm sure, but I guess what my sticking point is, I want to know I want to see on a pie graph how much is troll and how much is real, because a good troll can seem like a real mental patient, and a real mental patient can seem like a good troll.
It's true. It's a God. It's Poe's law.
Yeah, I want hard numbers.
Any information is helpful, and thanks in advance. No, it doesn't say it in advance. It says thanks in advice for the people who may help me on my journey to acquiring my dream pet. You need to dream bigger.
If just a blue frog, no size, no nothing.
Blue frog. Also, a blue frog probably poisonous. Just
probably, yeah. Well, it depends. There are some, like if you get a poison dart frog raised, born, and bred here in the U.S. and not smuggled from down south, and they are fed crickets instead of ants, they are incapable of producing their toxins because it's from the ants that they get it.
I get it, but this leads me to my next question, Dave. What's your dream pet? If you could have any animal, and I'll allow you a dinosaur.
So, are we also in this perfect scenario? Like the thing is trained.
We can assume that it can be trained.
Okay, but I've got to start from ground zero.
Yeah, you're gonna get it as a baby.
Do I get a mall guarantee? Like if I want something big and possibly dangerous.
Like a mall guarantee? Like a return guarantee? Or?
No, like a guarantee that it won't maul me.
Oh, a mauling. Like I thought you were buying it from a pet shop in a mall.
No. Yeah.
I'll give you the no mall guarantee.
Because I've got two answers for you is what I'm getting at. One, if I could make sure that I was constantly, like if we were simpatico and I could be sure that it wouldn't kill me either by virtue of accident or intention, I would go with a giant sloth.
Okay.
Classic Ice Age animal, whatever, 7-8 feet tall at the shoulder, huge, lumbering, just sweethearts of the Ice Age. If I had to go realistic, I want one of those little monkeys that's like the size of a softball.
Oh, was it like a capuchin or something?
No, smaller than that. It's like I want to say a macaque, but I don't know if that's right. Like, let's say a tamarin. I'll say a tamarin.
I'm typing really small monkey.
I would love a lion, whatever.
Pygmy marmoset?
Marmoset. That's what it was. But I'm changing it, actually. I want a tamarin. I want a cotton top tamarin.
See, I'm going with an ape. If I could have I also need the no mall guarantee.
Yeah, no mall guarantee.
Why not just bro out with an orangutan?
That seems like it would be cool, but here's the thing. With animals and even with primates, they're super sensitive to environment. So I'm always worried because when you take things like that into weirded places, like they're waiting for a forest. But from being a baby and being used to it, would it be, I obviously dream pet, they'd be fine with it because you'd put them in a Hawaiian shirt.
We'll give you also the no environmental death guarantee.
Yeah, like they're totally like, okay, here, case in point, like every time somebody rescues a baby bird, like that bird is fine living in that house. So yeah, they're probably just cool with living with whoever they like.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd be totally cool with that. Yeah, an orangutan would be cool.
Get them some cool shirts.
My thing would be
teach them to use the toilet. That's number one.
Yes, definitely. I would definitely teach my cotton top tamarin that too. However, my concern, especially now having a kid and essentially owning an ape, portability is the key. If I go whoo and tap my shoulder, it can jump on and we're out the door. Whereas, Clyde, you're going to have to make sure he's got the right shirt on. You're going to have to load him into the car, get him buckled in, holding him. Like it just seems like way too much hassle.
Way too much effort. You got to get him diapers.
Yeah, diapers.
That's for wearing outside just so nobody's,
Yeah, you don't want to take him into like a public restroom because he's going to be embarrassed because like by the time he's 15, he can crap by himself. There's so many things to think about. So yeah, I think portability. So that's what I'm saying. In a perfect world, I streamline everything. If I go extravagant, giant sloth, almost the exact opposite.
That's gonna fill up your whole backyard, though, man.
Yeah, I would obviously move up north to a colder climate, and land is cheap up there. So we would just I would ride him into town, and all the hillbillies. I don't know what it is about small town, but they're pockets of really angry people. So I would love to just go into a small town with my giant sloth.
Be like, start wrecking this place slowly.
No, just as a show of force.
I have logged on to Yahoo Answers, which I've never done before.
Is it interesting?
Here's a question for you.
Okay. Is it?
How do I tell if my Ned dog is vegan? I found her, and I don't know her previous eating regimen.
Ned, obviously meaning new.
Yeah.
Here's how you know if your dog is vegan. If it isn't a dog, if it's a horse.
Yeah.
Dogs are carnivores.
I think I found this dog. It goes, nay.
Or like maybe it's a goat. If your dog has horns, it needs grass. If it has sharp teeth, it needs meat. Very simple. I feel like most of Elliot's books touch upon that, and he's not even 2.
Well, yeah, we're teaching these children things, but then a lot of people don't buy the kids' books, David.
But even at a just as an interest, as a child as an interest, if you're going to get interested in something, you're going to find something that everybody loves, an animal, a dinosaur, a dragon, or whatever. You're going to get interested in a thing. It's probably going to be alive. And then you're going to be like, okay, if I ever wanted to get that thing, what does it eat? That's not even you have to be smart. You just have to be alive and curious about the world around you, even remotely.
Yeah.
But
they're not. I've got my guns and I've got my God, and that's all I need.
Thank God.
And this flag.
Yeah. Oh,
and Donald Trump. I need him.
So many flags. He's losing case after case, and I feel like for every case he loses, I see 4 flags.
Yeah, well, you're a nerd. I haven't seen any flags around here recently. Yesterday behind me, while I was driving somewhere, there was a guy with 4 MAGA hats on his dashboard.
Oh my God.
Then he was readjusting them because he had just taken a turn and they all slid to one side.
Yeah, you got to display the collection.
Oh, he had 2 red ones, a camouflage one, and a blue one.
I rolled by a dude with 4 of them, and I get to see one every day because my neighbor 2 houses down has one in their flagpole.
Yeah.
It's weird. It showed up 2 days before the election. He lost, and now it's still there, and I don't understand.
Because he didn't really lose, Dave. You don't understand. Did you see Rudy Giuliani looking like fucking Zorg?
Yeah, what's up with that?
I never understood that in The Fifth Element when it always looked like the thing had teleported barbecue sauce on his head.
Yes.
I was I'm going to make you a tasty treat.
Yeah.
Gary Oldman.
So here's the thing. With Giuliani, my first question is this. Are you poor? Because if you are, I get why you had to use cheap shit that you sweated off onto your head. If you have access to money and or influence, why would you not spend what it took, cut no corners, if you want to look the way you want to look? If I were, a head of gray hair and this golem of sinew.
Golem of sinew?
Yeah, with these corn cob kernels of teeth, I would say spare no expense. I would get some unwilling dental assistant to blast them white. I would get some wonderfully flamboyant man to just darken the hair and make it darken up in such a way that it would be sweat proof.
Yeah, but at the same time, David, he's being paid $20,000 a day, so he's got the money to get good hair dye.
That's what I'm saying.
But also, he doesn't need hair dye to impress the 15-year-olds he wants to fuck. He could just say, I'm America's mayor. It's funny how he went, everybody's like, oh, Rudy Giuliani, you handled 9/11 so well. And then 19 years later, he's like that uncle that was really successful but then lost his job and was like, it'll be all right if I try meth once.
Rudy Giuliani is Al Bundy. His polk high is 9/11. He'll always pose for, how Al is always yep, class of whatever, polk high. He does his, he does the Heisman pose, essentially. That's what Giuliani does. Every time someone sees him on the street, he goes, yep, mayor of 9/11. And he holds up his arms straight up in the air like 2 twin towers, and he drops them to his sides, and he does photo ops.
Yep.
Twin towers, did it myself. Took care of the whole city all by myself. 9/11, I was the mayor. Whoop, and he drops his arms.
He's also an insane person, so.
Oh, totally. But that's the thing. Republicans love insanity. Joe Arpaio, he's been a folk hero in Arizona for as long as I've been alive. And he is not only bad shit, but squirrel shit and ape shit.
Yeah, I do like that he got you guys in Arizona to fund a taxpayer-funded trip to Hawaii to attempt to find Barack Obama's birth certificate.
Yeah.
Which I'm going to guess was in a luau pig.
If you can believe it, the results are inconclusive. However, people here are obviously dim because all he did was he did three big things. He made all of everybody's uniforms in every prison in Arizona like the old-timey striped black and white horizontal shit. That was
which they should be because it's classic.
Yeah, classic. Number one, number two, recognizable. So,
And they should all be shackled at the legs by a big ball.
yeah, they do have chain gangs. And you would see them out there in their striped suits. Then, number two thing he did was, I don't know why, I feel like this would cost them more money instead of just keeping them white, but he made all of their underwear statewide pink. And
Sure,
you
that's
could
what you do.
you could get signed copies of Pink Joe Arpaio prison underwear. Guess who's you probably guess whose family member got one. This guy. And I was like, you enjoy that, and they did, I imagine.
Oh, is it like the Christmas where my father-in-law got Obama toilet paper? It's like, I know exactly how I'm going to use this. It's like, to wipe your ass, cool. But
Yeah.
I'm sure if I bought you, if I showed up with Trump toilet paper, like, look at this, I'm just
You
going to
eat it. Put it on a shelf. Yeah, that's basically, yeah. And then the third thing he did, and this was the coup de grace that sealed him as an Arizona legend, was he found a way to get food so cheap that it cost less to feed the inmates of an Arizona prison and or jail than it did to feed one of the dogs patrolling it.
that doesn't sound good. That sounds bad.
Oh yeah, it did. There were tons of documentaries where like there were prisoners putting together these sack lunches for each other, and they're like, "Yeah, this bologna's super old. The bread is really old. This fruit is either not ripe yet or rotten." And yeah, you ate garbage if you got incarcerated here. But since Republicans have no like empathy, everybody loved the fact that these assholes, because to most people, I'm not even gonna say Republicans because this is everybody. Everybody thinks that the people in prison are all mutually like high crime committers.
Yes.
And then you got to remember, like, the dude who got caught with an ounce of weed at a Dave Matthews Band concert is in the same tent, shitting in the same pot, eating the same 16-cent bologna sandwich next to the dude who killed another dude because he told him his baby mama looked fat. So
You have to wear a mask in the Piggly Wiggly.
yeah, well, we don't have Piggly Wigglies out here. I don't even know what that is. What is that?
I think it's like a Dollar General.
Okay, we do have Dollar Generals. I got that.
We don't have Piggly Wiggly either, but it's a reference that I assume I make because of National Lampoon movies.
Yeah, a lot of those East Coast references I usually lay at the feet of MST3K.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, so that's the thing. They love like hilarious fuck ups who are cruel. And that's what Arpaio is and was. He's so hilarious a fuck up. He's a sheriff who can't carry a gun. He carries a painted block of wood, and he has to have a bodyguard. And he fucks up constantly. And it's hilarious because he was only hurting people who were literally behind bars and could not be seen by the public.
Yeah.
So we let it pass. And plus I was 12, so I had no voting rights. So it was a weird time to be alive. Now, even more so.
Remember being young and your parents would be like, yeah, the president, he's evil. And you'd be like, I guess that's true.
I never heard that. No matter who was in office, I never heard a single political conversation.
See, but here's the thing.
Sure.
Is I see a lot of people do this, like, well, all these welfare mamas, like, you do know that, and they don't argue to shit with me anymore because I save articles
Facts.
as I see them.
Mm.
I'm like, well, here's a scientific study. One of the arguments was, oh, God, all these Democrats and their welfare queens. Like, actually, if you look at it, all of the red states that you love so much take in more in tax dollars to support their mostly white population.
Isn't that
from
weird?
blue states, which are giving them a lot of money. So yeah,
Strange.
if you keep on saying let's just cut off California, sure, but
And that's why I'm tempted to say I'm fine with it because, and I realize this is all hilarious stuff, but
we're very funny.
My problem is not with a particular party or a particular idea. Boil it down. No matter what you believe in, no matter what you think or do, my problem is the hypocrisy. My problem is not knowing enough to know what's good for you and what's bad for you. And if you're actively rooting against something that's good for you, you're brainwashed, I feel. If someone can point to you and say, here is a program that you benefit from that you are fighting against, can you give me a reason why? And typically the reason is because it's exploitable by people who aren't white.
Yeah.
Which is enough for most people. But that's the thing here. Every system has weaknesses and exploits, and there are going to be people who exploit the system. So should we abolish it?
Sure.
Sure.
David, I hate to break up our very funny podcast, but I am about to take a very funny shit in my pants unless we wrap this up.
Gross. That might be funnier. All right, Andy, let's start wrapping it up. It's just the two of us. Not much left to do, but we can do a round of staff recommendations. Do you have something you would like to recommend to our listeners?
Now, this is going to cause a rant.
Okay.
A little bit from me. You guys, you can like whatever you like. Last night, for the first time ever, because it was on HBO Max, we watched The Fast and the Furious.
Okay.
You know, it's a fun popcorn movie. When I was in college back in 2002, and they do the getting to know you things, everybody would be like, I love The Fast and the Furious. It's my favorite movie. And I'd say, oh, I've never seen it. It seems like a car movie. Like, no, it's about family.
No, it's not.
I watched the fun car movie.
Yeah.
It's about cars.
It's about fun cars.
It's about fun cars. And the other problem I have with it is at the end, they're going to heist this stuff from this truck. They've got grappling hooks. They've got all this gear. They got fucking nice cars. All of it undone because the guy in the truck had a shotgun.
There's always a
just one
linchpin.
shotgun.
Yeah, well. Okay, but here's the thing. This may be coming as a surprise, but I will never rail against that type of stuff. And here's why. It is pulp. It is cheap, fast, almost pure
Furious?
schlock. It's fast and it's furious. And that's what it is. It's pulp. I love pulp. I don't necessarily watch and haven't watched many of the Fast and the Furious films, but the ones I have enjoyed because they're pulp. There's something cheaply made to watch and then throw away. So there's nothing, I can't point a finger and be like, how dare you? Like, everybody loves pulp, obviously, because they make $1 billion every time.
But everybody, I'd always get the same, they'd be like, oh, what's your favorite movie? We're like, Goodfellas. I was like, oh, that's long.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
But that movie is about family.
Tight 90. Well, yeah, because nobody knows what family is. They want platitudes. They want fast cars. They want muscle dudes doing high fives and saying they're family. They don't want legitimate emotional or intellectual issues being touched upon, Andy. They want fast cars. They want you're my brother for life, and they want to touch foreheads.
Faster car.
So that's fine. I like pulp. Ironically, those who enjoy it legitimately, we have a problem.
I guess I'm really recommending HBO Max because if you like that movie, it's
on there.
I think all 8 of them have gone up. And the next thing we're watching, because I haven't seen it since I was maybe 12, is Wild Wild West.
You know, you can't go wrong with Will Smith. Also Pulp, a shitty movie, but pulp. All right, I am going to recommend, I think I'm going to recommend a Raspberry Pi project. This Steam Link, I think, is really working out. And if I can upgrade to the 4, because it's one of my old 3B plus A's, I think that'll cut.
If you have a Best Buy near you, they have them in stock.
I do not go into stores.
No, see, I had mine delivered to me out at my car.
Oh, I can get.
This is when I saw the nice man coming out of the Best Buy with a feather bear parrot and a Confederate flag sewn onto the back of his jacket.
God, no. Another reason I don't want to do that. I would just as easily get it off of Amazon. My thing is, half the time when I get my allowance, the expendable part goes toward, like, when I bought all the stickers for the show or whatever. So it's...
Oh, I got those stickers. They're going on my water bottle, at least one of them.
Yeah, I hope everybody got their stickers. I got 2 left, so by the time you hear this, they're probably gone, so don't ask. But I'll maybe put in another order soon. Because they flew off the shelves like hotcakes. Why are you buying hotcakes off a shelf? Don't know. That's my recommendation.
The Raspberry Pi can do so much, but I just use it for retro gaming.
I kind of want to have one like as a little desktop setup somewhere, do little projects or something, but I can discuss that with everybody later.
Make a podcast Pi.
Yeah, what if I podcast exclusively from a Raspberry Pi 4? Could that happen, I wondered?
I bet you it could.
I bet Audacity has it has a Linux version. I wonder if there's a driver. We might have a project that could blow up in my face. Anyway, guys, thanks for listening. Until next week, I'm Dave.
I'm Andy. I'm Rudy Giuliani.
And I'm an angry orange. And in something else funny. Shit. See you next week.
Shit.
Fistful of Podcasts Radio.